want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio with your host, Brian Smith, and
Kerry Smith.
Giving you all the late-breaking details of last week, wrapping it all up, making sense of it all, jamming it down your throat in little bitty bites so that come Monday when you're back to work, you'll know exactly what you're talking about, you'll know how to present it, and you'll blow them up.
And we leave no tangent unturned.
Correct. That is correct. Today is February 28th, the day before the 29th.
February 29th?
Which is leap year.
Oh, wow.
So what month has 28 days in it?
Well, sometimes February.
All of them.
Oh, you
wow,
got me.
Wow.
You got me.
That was the joke for the kids. The kids got me
Yeah.
with it. I'm like, oh, right. I was got with that when I was
Got you on
kid.
a technicality.
So, folks, don't forget, I believe it's coming up next week to set your clocks forward.
So you can thank us for reminding you.
So you can mull over it all week, how you're going to lose an hour. You just regret every minute of it.
I love it because it signals in the start of spring in my book.
Yeah, okay.
You really know it's spring when you wake up that following morning. It's still dark, and then at night, the sun stays up past 8, and you're like, wow.
Hey, well, you want to start the show off running fast? You know, like sometimes we kind of
you got
limp
to
around in the beginning.
If you don't want people to just click us off right now, then yeah.
Okay, do you want something of stupidity or something that it's stupid?
Both.
Dealing with a woman or dealing with Super Tuesday?
Let's do the woman.
Here's John Kasich.
Wait, that's not a woman.
Here's what he said about women.
How did I get elected? I didn't have anybody for me. We just got an army of people who, and many women who left their kitchens to go door to door and to put yard signs up for me all the way.
First off, I want to say your comment earlier about the women came out of the kitchen to support you. I'll come to support you, but I won't be coming out of the kitchen.
I got you.
Yes, folks.
You know what that's called in my book? That's called an unforced error. You cannot make unforced errors like that. And it's funny because when Trump makes comments that you're just like, oh, he's going to pay for that one, you could call those unforced errors if they were. If the thing is what constitutes an error in politics? When it actually hurts you, you know, like if you do an error in baseball, it actually hurts you somehow. Either you give up a base, or you give up a run, or whatever, or you miss an out that you should have had.
Well, if you're a pitcher, don't they have your? Oh, that would be lost.
Well, I'm not a big baseball person. I'm not the inside baseball person, but you know, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. But it's like if I have a throw out at first base and it's really easy, and when I pick up the ball, it flies out of my hand like it was covered in grease. Right. That would be logged in as an error.
Oh, Obama's pitch when he threw out the pitch for the game.
Oh, that's painful. How about Mark Mallory?
It wasn't even an error. He was throwing it to the dugout.
No, you're thinking of Mark Mallory. I think.
He threw it to the dugout.
When Mark Mallory threw the ball and it almost hit somebody who wasn't paying attention at third base.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it
first base
in the upper deck.
And yeah, I mean, the ump actually gave the signal for you're ejected. Oh, he did. He did. He said, "You're out of here." Oh, that's insulting.
Well, you know, if the shoe fits. So, I mean, Kasich, dude, what are you doing?
That is so dumb. That's like one of them comments that you're like, you knew better than to go down that road. I mean,
okay, am I wrong in saying that?
Saying what?
maybe that he doesn't believe they come out of the kitchen, or maybe he does believe they're in the kitchen, or maybe he was told, hey, man, now go out there, but don't talk about, we were joking before. We were joking in the back room, having a few beers about women in the kitchen. Dude.
Do not say that. It's the, you're saying it was the self-fulfilled prophecy.
Right.
Oh.
Right, I'm not going to do it, but then you do it.
Yeah, like I know you told me not to do it, but that's all I could think about the whole time I was speaking was, don't say women coming out of the kitchen. Don't say women coming out of the kitchen. And then all of a sudden my brain just went on autopilot, and that's all I could think of.
Just like that movie with Dumb and Dumber at the very end. When
you make so many references to Dumb and Dumber.
Jim Carrey, my kids love it. Do not watch the second one with children. Do not. Warning. It's like NC-17.
The second one? I thought which is the one where they went to the bathroom, the public bathroom, and the guy...
Oh, that's the first one.
Yeah, you can't watch that with your kids.
Well, they didn't understand that. They were too...
What are you talking about? He was in the stall and he started unzipping, and that was terrible.
It went down wrong.
I told my daughter to get out of the room while I fast forward this.
So, fast forward the VHS.
To go, yeah.
They said at the very end of the movie, Jim Carrey wants to say to this beautiful girl, he says, I so badly want to make love to you. I feel like you make me feel like a schoolboy. Like he's thinking these things in his head. I feel like such a schoolboy around you. I want to make, and then he opens his mouth and he's like, I so desperately want to make love to a schoolboy.
Oh, wow, yeah. That's not good.
And the needle scratched the record.
Yeah, that's... So you're saying that the words were in his head, but they came out wrong?
Yes!
Okay.
Absolutely.
It didn't sound like they came out of his head wrong. That's the weird part.
No, that sounded...
Well, if you remember back when Mitt Romney was running, when he said binders of women, that was not an error. That was something that the Democrats said, we can twist this into a pretzel and make it an error if we really try hard. And they had to, and they did, and it was successful.
It stuck for a minute.
It was successful.
That he did kill a man's wife with cancer. He killed a man. He killed a man.
Well, yeah, and the thing about that is that they were very successful at making up this lie that there was this war on women. It's amazing that it was successful. In hindsight, any one of you people who believed in that back then, and I know that nobody will admit it now, because we live in a brave new world where people aren't going to put up with the lies anymore, and they're not going to be manipulated. I love it now compared to the way it was back then. When you heard people say there's a war on women, and a vast majority of people believe that the Republicans actually were waging a war on women, you really had to question your faith in humanity at that point.
Right.
I think human beings are too stupid to live in a democracy. I mean, it really felt like that. But today, that stuff doesn't fly. So I feel a lot more proud to be a human.
Okay. Well, something that we are definitely going to get into today. We're going to dance all over it and step on a little bit.
And twist.
Twist and contort. Is this notion that our politics have gone off the rail, that somehow we've, with the political election cycle, with the news media, with the candidates, with everybody and everything involved, all so self-consuming, that we have somehow steered the whole ship into a bridge abutment.
I could feel the bridge abutment comment coming. I was like, it's coming. Here we go.
And you're like, how does a ship hit a bridge abutment? Well, it did. It did. It was on the Ohio River, and it clipped the concrete pillar, and she's gaining water. No, for the baby boomers that are out there, folks, you came from the greatest generation that won World War II, the greatest generation. You, the baby boomers that were born between 1946 and 1964, you had everything handed to you.
They don't even realize it. They don't even realize it. The entire world was molded around the raising of this generation. And to this day, don't think it's stopped.
No.
I mean, you remember the video we saw where they were talking about how if you look at how fast food made a come up.
Right.
It was following the baby boomers as they were coming of age.
Gerber bottles and diapers.
Oh, the babies. Gerber company came about when the baby boomers were all babies. When you get into the middle age, that's when you had this explosion of these ridiculous restaurants like your TGI Fridays, your Applebee's, your O'Charlie's, because that's where the baby boomers were going.
And to you folks, and I'm not saying all y'all, but so many of you all. And it was all about, especially in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s, if it don't feel right, don't do it. If it feels right, then do it. Divorce rate shot through the roof. Do you remember that?
That's a self-fulfilling prophecy, too, because they were just telling everybody, half of every marriage will end in divorce.
And that was a lie. It's still a lie. Folks, it's a lie. Anyway, so, and we could go on forever about this, but it was a skyrocketing thing. It was so huge. Capitalism treated you like royalty, all y'all, that this your children will be the first generation hundreds of years that the majority of your children will never succeed beyond what you created.
I think there was this
you see what I'm saying though? Like the wealth that the baby boomers created amongst themselves without being handed down, my dad died, gave me $1 million. Not that kind of thing. I mean, the kind of thing to where they started down and the majority of them grew in leaps and bounds, whether it be in the stock market, 401ks, investments. If you worked for one of the car industries, Ford, Chevy, or Chrysler,
oh my gosh,
and you milked them, and now you live down in Florida, high on the hog.
Meanwhile, all these companies that were catering to the baby boomer workforce as they were going through, most of them are just collapsing on themselves and going out of business. And
so we remember back in the 90s how jobs were a dime a dozen and things were, oh my goodness, I see what my parents got. Whoo!
Yeah.
Can you imagine
it's not available.
Can you imagine what I'm going to get?
From generation on up.
But we were thinking that there was an exponential
that's going to keep on going.
Rocket to this. But sadly enough, a lot of your baby boomer politicians, they're just greedy and they just want that power.
They think everything is supposed to be theirs and because it's always been theirs.
Right. And the government will now take over and continue because you guys, we did have it good, but we're rare, and y'all, we'll give you not as much as we had, but we'll give you, so you can survive, and it won't be hard on you either.
I think they feel guilty because there's this really weird. I'll never forget. I was doing work for this one guy who was actually a World War II vet, so he wasn't a baby boomer, but he was very young and healthy for a World War II vet. So I think he was kind of just jammed in there with the rest of the older baby boomers. And, he was one of these guys that when you talk to him, it was all about being tough and about being that rugged individualist that does what he has to do to earn what you got, right?
Right.
He let his son, who was in his 40s or 50s,
That's right.
live at home. And he hired me to work around his house because his son wouldn't. He was too lazy.
And he had a disability, right?
No. There was nothing wrong with the son. He was perfectly healthy. And he had to come back and live at home. And I remember when he started talking about his son, he was just like, well, yeah, he's kind of a lazy bum, but, what are you going to do? And so he hired me for a good amount of money, too. And I would do a lot of work around the house it didn't require any kind of expertise. It just required pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and doing it. And he couldn't get his own son to do it. And it was a